Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. So if you want to see how I made this soap, continue watching this video. Jumping right into the video, this is the soap I will be using today. It's a melt and pour soap that I got off of Amazon. I have used this before to make hand soap over the summer, and this is how much I have left from cutting off a small piece of that. So I'm just going to use the rest of this soap today just to see how many bars of soaps I can get out of what's left. I am going to be adding some of my Bentonite clay inside of my soap just because Bentonite clay is really cleansing. I'm also going to be adding some sea moss gel, and I didn't use a full cup. I just used enough just because I know I didn't have too much soap, so I didn't want to put too much sea moss. Before I get started with anything, I'm just going to measure out the soap first because I wasn't sure exactly how much I had left. So I'm going to be using this measuring plate that I got from Walmart, and I'm just going to put my soap on it to measure to see how much soap I have left in pounds and ounces. I'm going to be doing the double boiler method. That's why I have this soap in this metal bowl. And what that is, I'm just going to boil some water in a pot, and I'm going to sit the bowl on top of the pot so the soap can melt, because I feel like this is much of a safer alternative than doing it in the microwave. I own a few soap molds, but nothing like this, and I ordered this one off of Amazon. And this is for if you want to do more and like bigger chunks of soap. So even though I don't have too much soap, I'm going to be using this one today. And it also came with two soap cutters. One is a straight side and the other is a rigid side. This is what my soap is looking like after it has melted on the stove, and I'm just stirring it around just to make sure that everything, all of the chunks are melted and that it's very smooth before I go to my next step. Now I'm going to take my sea moss gel, and I'm just going to scoop all of that out and put it into my soap. My soap was still warm, so I figured that it would have dissolved the sea moss, but it didn't. So as I was stirring, it was pretty still thick. I had a lot of globs of like the sea moss, so I thought it would have been smart to get my mixer and mix it in this way, but it actually made a lot of soap bubbles and suds, which was not good at all because I did not want this to be in my soap. So what I did was I just scooped out the extra bubbles out as much as I could out of my soap mix, and then I also just got to look and see how much I got inside of this measuring cup. Now time for fragrance. For my fragrance, I used a coconut scent, something that's not too strong. And I'm going to just stir that up and make sure it's stirred in pretty good. Even though I added in the fragrance, I do want to mention, because I added sea moss, that it did not smell like the sea moss. Because if you're familiar with sea moss is kind of strong. But that wasn't the case with my soap. You actually couldn't smell it, which was great. Adding my last ingredient, which is a few sprinkles of the Bentonite clay. I would like to also mention that if you follow this ingredients to make some soap, just be aware that with the bentonite clay, it was not stirring the way I needed it to with this mixture. I don't know if it's because I did it afterwards, or maybe I should have added it in with like the sea moss and stuff. That's why the bentonite clay shows on top of the soap, because it floated to the top and actually stayed there. But if that's something you would not want in your soap, I would think second about using bentonite clay in your soap. Lastly, now I'm gonna just take my mix of my soap and just pour it into the soap mold. As I mentioned earlier, this soap mold is specifically for if you're gonna do like a big bulk of soap, or you're doing like a lot of it. Since I didn't have too much of the soap left from the last time I used it, I wasn't able to fill it like I would have wanted it to be. But now that I know what I would need or how much I would need for a bigger batch of soap. I also want to mention too, for my beginners, if you're going to try to make soap, just make sure that you write down all of your ingredients and take measurements, and if need to be, weigh whatever you have to weigh, just so it will help you out for future reference when you want to make more soap. The soap is basically done, and this is what it's looking at so far. As you can see, the bentonite clay is floating at the top. As I mentioned, it was not mixing well when I tried to stir it in, and there are some little air bubbles, or like bubbles from the soap, but that will go away once it dries overnight. And this is the next day and what the soap looks like now. So now I'm getting ready to cut up my soap, and before I cut anything, we have to first, of course, take it out of the soap mold. And I don't know why, for some reason I was having a little bit issue getting it out of the wooden part. It was kind of stuck, I think because the soap was heavy. But once I got it out, this is it. I'm going to be using both of the cutters to cut the soap, just because I wanted to try them both out. And I'm just going to pop the soap out of the mold. And this is what the soap looks like outside of the molds. I'm actually pretty impressed with the way the soap looks. I wish it could have been thicker, but it looks pretty good. You can see the sea moss at the bottom, the bentonite clay at the top. To cut, I'm going to start off with the rigid side of the soap cutter first, and then I'm going to also make these a little wider since I did not fill up my soap mold because I didn't have enough soap liquid. So this is what I'm going to do, and this is the first piece. And kind of show you guys how cool this is. I just think that's really cool. I always love to watch people do this, so I just like that print. And then this is the sides, and as you can see, like the soap suds, like the I guess you can call it the residue, was on the side of the soaps, and it looked really ugly. And I tried to take the other soap cutter to scrape it off, but I eventually stopped because I was kind of denting it and scraping it. But I am going to clean it up after I'm done cutting my other soaps. And for the next soap, I just wanted to try out the thinner soap cutter, like the straight soap cutter. So I'm just going to use that and just cut it. And for some reason, I don't know why, I must be weak, because when I was trying to get this through the soap, it didn't go through as easy as it did the first time with the other cutter. I wanted to show you guys them all together just because they were not all even. And it's most likely, of course, because I didn't have enough soap base. But this is what they are looking like all against each other. 2 of them I am giving to a friend, and the other 2 will be mine. Now, I just want to make the soaps look a little more cleaner and just, just more proper. So I'm going to be taking this knife and I'm just going to carefully just slice away, try to do it as even as I can and slice away the sides where like the soap suds had dried up and left that like funny kind of, print or whatever. So I'm going to do that to all of the soaps and just make them look a little more presentable. I also wanted to mention that it's soap, so if you're just making it for yourself, then this is really not an option. Like, it's not really optional, you don't have to do it. But because I mentioned I am giving 2 away to a friend for him and his wife, I wanted to look more, just proper and cleaner. I mean, it's soap, and when you use it on your body or on your hands, it's going to, what's the word? It's going to melt anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But if you are someone who cares about presentation and you want to do this, I would suggest you do it. Plus, it's kind of fun. Like, I felt like I was an artist sculpting some stuff, so I'm just gonna keep doing that until they're all like clean to my liking. Here is the final product. I really love how these came out. Like, they're just so pretty. Like, my first time I made soap, it was like I used like a different kind of soap mold and it was really smaller. So I love how these came out this time around. I will say that next time I probably won't use bentonite clay and I will use more sea moss, just because I would want the sea moss to show more into the soap. And again, as someone who's used sea moss before for my skin, I love how it makes my body feel. So I definitely will add more sea moss next time. I wanted to give you guys like a little small preview of how the soap lathers up. So I'm just putting some warm water on my skin, and I'm going to use some of the soap shavings that I took off of the soap, and I'm just going to rub some of that on my hands so you guys can get an idea of the soap, of how it lathers. I will say that I would probably next time add some glycerin, some vegetable glycerin to this, just because that does help with more of a sudsy kind of a soap. I'm a person that likes more bubbles and suds inside of my soap, so I would definitely next time around add some glycerin just to make it more soapier. But overall, I really love how this soap feels on my skin. I love the way it smells. It smells really good and refreshing. Like I mentioned with the coconut scent I use, it's not too strong, it's not too light, it's just right. And also the shea butter had a little scent to it. Nothing like it wasn't anything that you can really say like it smells like perfumey or anything, but it did have some scent to it. So it smells like soap, but soap with fragrance basically. But I really love how this came out. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. Let me know if you plan on trying to make your own soap, and I will also list down the items used in this tutorial for anyone who wants to try and purchase some of their own. I wanted to show you guys the difference that I had in my skin once I used the soap. On one hand, I don't know if you can tell, but my skin does feel a little smoother, and it definitely is cleansed. I think that's because of the bentonite clay, but you can see the difference in my hands as I'm showing you guys here of, you know, one that I washed and when I didn't. The one that's washed looks more, I don't know, cleaner, and that makes sense. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're not already, and feel free to share this video with anyone. And again, let me know if you guys want to see more DIY videos like this, just because I honestly prefer making my own body products and hair products. And also I will be having my business back up and running soon, so please stay tuned for those videos coming. And again, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified once I am posting. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, later guys.